Hey, this is Perry. We're back to the show, and I've got a really cool guest today. My next guest says that you can start your own boarding kennel, your own dog boarding kennel or pet boarding kennel. That's actually considerably more profitable than owning a hotel, if you can imagine that. Room for room, these things make a lot of money. They're not terribly difficult to start. He's done it in an amazing little bitty town with a crazy result. And you don't have to buy a franchise. You don't have to invest crazy money to do this. And you get to live the life you want in a passion career balanced with really good profit to make a really good living. So Jim Banks, welcome to the show.
Pleasure to meet you. Thank you for having me on.
The Kennel Chief.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that a lot. So Kennel Chief wasn't just an accident, right?
No, it was not.
Yeah. So what's your background, man? How'd you get tell me all about how you learned about the dog boarding business.
So, interesting concept or interesting story. My wife has always wanted to do dog boarding, and it was her lifelong dream. And we have been involved in dog rescue for, 20 plus years. And so the moon lined up right, and we were able to get the dog boarding kennel business. The nice thing is, as a fireman, I was able to kind of have time off to help her build this kennel out.
So then you did this. You started with a full-time job at the fire station, right?
We both had a full-time job.
For a while, right? For how many years? How many years do you both?
So she worked the first year and a half that the kennel was open, and I worked the first 7 years the kennel was open.
And now she's quit working at the kennel. She's like, I don't want that thing no more. You go run it. That was more work than I thought it was going to be, right?
You know, she works part-time there. She does what she wants to do, which is good, because we've hired enough staff.
Sure.
And it's been a great story.
That's awesome, man. So I know, so you started relatively small.
We did?
Yeah. So tell us about the very beginning, how you started.
So at the beginning, we built a 30 by 50 building, and I put 9 kennels in there. Mm-hmm. And then we had an area for like a utility area that we kept in there for the laundry, the washing machine, the dryer.
Sure.
Those kind of things. We cleaned dogs. We had a little bathing station in there as well. Within 2 months, we did a soft opening for Thanksgiving and Christmas. And we filled up the 9 kennels. So I had to build some temporary kennels.
Yeah.
The temporary kennels ended up being permanent kennels.
Yeah.
And so in the first 6 months, we added an additional 7 kennels on there. And by Memorial Day of that following year, those were full, had people on the waiting list. So it's been crazy, but we started out in a little tiny spot.
You're in a town of 2,500 people, right?
2,500 in a little town of Benton, Louisiana. We're not close to anything.
Benton, Louisiana, right next to nothing.
Yeah, we're not.
Yeah. You got to go somewhere else. You can't get as they used to say about my hometown, you can't get there from here. You got to go somewhere else and start. I get it. So, but the difference in what you did, I think, is fascinating. So your kennel spaces are bigger. They're monitored by video. They create a roomy, playful environment for the animals. They get to socialize together and all those things to help sort of humanize the experience, right?
We have.
Yeah.
So when we built this kennel, we built a kennel where we would want to have our dogs. And we leave our dogs there all the time when we go on vacation. And so no cages. That was kind of the first thing. So there's no cages at all. They all have their own little room, their own little area.
Sure.
We built big old play areas outside. And so we take dogs out. It's kind of like a doggy daycare, doggy park.
Yeah.
Well, they can go out and socialize. And basically, when their owners go on vacation, the dog didn't have a vacation.
Yeah, right.
And what's really cool is that a lot of times the owner gets back, the dogs don't want to leave.
Yeah.
They pull in the driveway, the dogs are going nuts because they know where they're at.
Yeah. That's awesome. So I know that because we've talked about this quite a lot. Mm-hmm. Like if you look at the investment to do this versus investment to build a hotel or something, it's not even remotely close. It's like pennies on the dollar, but the rental rates are not pennies on the dollar. You guys are, what's your average rental rate right now?
I believe our average rate right now for a kennel is about $55 for the first dog in the kennel. And I want to say it's a $10 discount on the second dog. It might be $50.
So $50 a night is fair to say. Is, you know, I've stayed in hotels before that weren't $50 a night. I'm not proud of it.
But so the interesting thing is we get about, when you look at the census in there, we have about a dog and a half. We only cut dogs in half, but about a dog and a half per kennel. So at 55 and another 40, 25, you're almost $75 or $80 a night.
And you're talking about the cost to build that per unit being not counting. I know you bought land and a bunch of other stuff, but that was but actual cost to develop it.
The initial cost on the kennel was about $85,000
for the. You ended up with 17 of them or something for that.
Yeah.
So about what is that? About $5,000 a kennel.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Yeah. And if you were renting that space to put that in, it would have been considerably less than that. You would have had to build out. You would have done an internal build out.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So somebody can do this. By the way, you don't need $85,000 necessarily to do this. You can do this for, I think we talked about it, maybe as little as $10,000 in a rental space to start or whatever. You're not going to be able to do it for nothing. I don't want people to get the
No, you're not. And
misconception.
They're going to have 17 kennels for $10,000.
Right.
But you got a good start.
Yeah.
Then you decide, hey, I like this or I don't like it.
What's the part about the business you hate the most?
Part about the business I hate the most, I would guess, is probably maybe dealing with some of the employee issues that you have from time to time.
Yeah.
That's probably.
But you probably also have some really good employees that are devoted to the animals, right?
We have outstanding employees. Anybody we hire, they got to love dogs. I mean, that's the first kind of qualification. And then we train them. We have systems in place. We've got SOPs in place. So we train them. But it's still, I mean, it's not a, I'm not hiring nurses, doctors.
Well, and people aren't going to do that job for the rest of their lives. They're going to do it for a couple of years, and while they're in college or coming out of high school, stuff like that. You got to understand that, and you got to understand that going in, so you don't get disappointed when you come out the other side of that. So, I don't want to talk about numbers of how much you make, because that's nobody's business. But it's pretty safe to assume that $5,000 unit at $55, let's say $50 a night.
Okay.
You don't have to be as my old grandpa used to say, you ain't got to be it ain't rocket surgery to figure that out.
It's not hard to do the math.
You could return investment on that in 60 days if you were booked.
I would. We just built an addition onto the kennel, and we added 16 kennels. It's a bigger area in there. And that'll pay for itself in 9 months.
9 months. Yeah. And you're doing it 1,000% right. You're doing it to last 40 years, right? You're not doing it, you could have cut corners and made it ROI a lot quicker than that.
Absolutely.
But yeah.
Absolutely.
So, man, I think that's amazing. What's crazy to me is if you're out there watching this right now, Jim's in a town of 2,500 people. That just blows my mind. And in such a small town, there's a need that for that high level of care and for that much volume. It's not all the volume in the world, but it's a heck of a good volume for a relatively smart area.
You might be surprised.
Yeah.
So we have people drive an hour and a half away to come to us on a regular basis.
Because you just take better care. Because the other alternative is you go to the big box store and you put your kid. Look at that. There you go. You put your fur baby into an iron cage. You put him in jail basically while you go on vacation. That's not cool.
And the dogs suffer from it. People pick their nose up and don't eat. I mean, all kinds of issues.
We've done it. We've been through it before. We don't do it anymore. We refuse. We pay somebody now to come to our house and watch them, or we take it to a friend's house that we pay $50 a day to our buddy's house to take it. So, yeah, man, that's crazy cool. So, but now you're doing something really different. So you've decided to help other people to start and build these businesses.
We have. I was on Facebook. I was in different kennel groups, and I started to see a lot of the questions that came up. How do I do this? How did you guys do that? I thought what would be really cool is we could share our experience.
Yeah.
So I've been marketing online for almost 20 years, and then I've got a very good, extensive experience with the kennels now. We've been marketing for 9 years, and so I thought we would share that.
And you got another business that manufactures pet treats and supplements and things like that, right, for pets.
Yeah, we do freeze-dried dog treats, and we got some calming treats that we do for dogs as well.
Yeah, and you wholesale those things down to the other kennels so they can have an additional profit center. So, man, this is the great thing is though. I mean, how much is your franchise fee and your royalty?
What's the franchise fee?
Exactly. So you're not buying a franchise where you're tied to Jim forever, paying a royalty or a franchise fee or a bunch of money and wasting your money in that. You get to put your money in your kennel and work with somebody who really, at the end of the day, gets this business and if he can be successful against kind of all odds, start when you still got your job. You don't necessarily have to quit your job, in a little bitty town with no practical experience, right? You didn't have any practical experience with this to speak of, and be as successful as you've been and continue to be, it's pretty doggone remarkable.
Remember COVID?
Yeah.
We were shut down. And so be able to survive that, be able to have that business and have people come back to us and be able to work all through that. Yeah, it's a crazy business.
What do you think your single biggest key to success in the business is? Why do you think you're successful when other people fail? Because people do fail in this business.
Yeah, absolutely. So probably the single business is how we take care of the dogs. So when you look at,
And then they go back and talk to the parent.
everybody. Yeah,
Okay.
that's funny. The parents don't take them home.
Yeah.
The dog doesn't want to go home.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they do in a sense. But yeah, how we take care of the dogs and what we do, that is probably the single. We treat them like our family.
Yeah.
If they got to go to the vet, we take them to the vet. They need shots, we give them shots. Yeah, I mean, they're like our dogs when they're at our property.
That's awesome. So if you're out there and you're thinking, man, I really do want a business. I want something that I'm going to have fun doing, I'm passionate about, and you ever thought about being in a pet-related business or pet boarding business, I think knowing Jim could be a giant help to you. And I hope you'll. So right below this video, I'm sure you're going to have some sort of a little button or something where they can.
Well, they click, find out some more.
Yeah, find out some more information about the situation. And I know Jim's got a lot of resources that don't cost you a penny. If you're, if you decide to work with him, you guys can talk about that, and I highly suggest it because it's so much easier than paying the stupid tax. My buddy says if you're gonna be stupid, you better be tough, because you're, so you can shortcut all that, and I imagine if they work with you, they can come down and see your place and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'd be happy to have them down. We'll show them exactly how we do everything.
Yeah.
From start to finish.
That's amazing. Well, thanks so much. This has been a fun interview. I don't get to do fun things. Like, people are usually in boring businesses. This is a really fun business. I think a lot of people are really, really, really going to like. Any final words before we go? Anything you want to say to them?
Well, here's the deal. If you need help, call, or come see us. That's what I want to do. We've been very fortunate and very blessed in this business, and I would like to share it with folks.
That's awesome.
So that's kind of where I want to leave that.
And the time that I've known Jim, he's just a good guy. You can tell he's just a good, honest, decent person that's not gonna, I don't think you'd take $1 off anybody that was not, that you didn't feel like you were going to solidly earn.
If we can't help somebody, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
And if I think that this is probably not what you need to be doing,
yeah,
I'll tell you all of that.
Because it is a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
Good. There's a lot of bad.
That's like your wife found out.
Wasn't when you have something that you love and it's a hobby and then it becomes a job, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
But it's worth it.
I get it.
But I'll let you know all that stuff for sure.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for being here with us today. Yes, Jim, thank you. Thank you for the audience for being here. And we'll see you next time on the show. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it, buddy. Appreciate it. My pleasure.